7.0 is the last region on the map. 7 years of someday we'll go to Snezhnaya, and someday is August 12th. But before you even think about Primogems, there is free stuff sitting in this patch that a lot of players are going to completely sleep on. A free 5-star weapon, a free 4-star unit, and I've also done the actual math on how many pulls you're realistically walking in with. So before you save a single Primogem, let's talk about what you're already getting for nothing. Part 1. The free stuff. Let's start with the sword, because this one's actually kind of huge. Leaks are calling it the Starforged Sword, a free 5-star sword for the Traveler handed out through the Snezhnaya main story instead of a banner. You upgrade it by interacting with statues of 7 scattered across the new map instead of farming billets, which is a nice change of pace from go kill 50 slimes. Current numbers floating around, roughly 608 base ATK, about 33% crit rate as the substat, and a passive that gives a flat ATK bonus plus energy regen on hit, supposedly scaling up the more elements the Traveler has already unlocked. Translation: if you've been ignoring your Traveler since 1.0 because they felt like a filler unit, this sword is Hoyoverse's way of saying, no, actually, use them now. And then there's the free 4-star. If you've paid attention to any new region drop, you already know the pattern. Calais in Sumeru, Lynette in Fontaine, Kachina in Natlan, Aino in Nodkrai. Every single new nation has come with one free 4-star, no exceptions. For Snezhnaya, that's Alyosha, an electro polearm user with a hunting hound sidekick named Tugarin. We'll get into what he actually does in a second, but the headline is, he's free and he's not just a throwaway unit this time. So before you plan a single wish, you're already banking a free 5-star weapon and a free 4-star character just for playing through the story. Keep that in your back pocket for later, because it actually changes the pull math. Part 2. Kit Breakdown. Odette. Now the actual new characters. Odette is the only new 5-star in this entire patch. A cryo sword user, and she's built around this patch's new mechanic, stellar reactions. Quick version of stellar reactions since you'll hear it a lot. Cryo plus electro makes stellar conduct. This already exists, it's Sandrone's whole thing. Cryo plus animo is the new one, stellar swirl. Only certain characters can actually trigger these, so it's less any cryo unit works, and more, you need the specific units built for it. Odette's Kit. Her skill is a dance move that hits AoE cryo damage and summons a spectral copy of herself called Solo Reflection that just sits there and keeps attacking on its own. Cast the skill again while the copy's out. And instead of summoning a second one, she switches into a duet move that ends in a cryo nuke counted as stellar reaction damage. Her burst does something similar but bigger, and buffs her own reaction damage on top. The passives are where she gets interesting. Summoning her copy gives stacks of a buff called Marvelous Splendor, worth 15% stellar reaction damage each. And when she goes off-field, those stacks drain off her and get handed to her teammates instead. So she's not just a sub-DPS, she's actively feeding your on-field carry. The honest read here: if you already built Sandrone, Odette is the direct upgrade. Best cryo sub-DPS support the team's ever going to get. If you skipped Sandrone entirely, she's a lot less urgent because the Stellar Conduct engine is about to become free anyway. Which brings us to Part 3. Kit Breakdown. Alyosha, the free 4-star. Electro Polearm, Hunting Mark playstyle, fights alongside his dog Tugarin. His normal attacks and skill build up hunting marks on enemies. Activating a mark gives the whole party an ATK buff called Hunter's Precision. His burst is the fun part. It drops a field called Thunder Hunting Ground that taunts nearby enemies and pulses who runs around biting marked enemies for off-field electro damage every couple seconds, re-triggering the mark buff the whole time. The catch: his passives want energy recharge, hard. One passive converts a percentage of his ER damage up to a 70% bonus. So you're not normal support, you're stacking battery stats. And just like Odette, standing in a stellar field flips him into a bonus state that boosts the whole team's stellar conduct damage by another 25%. So here's the actual takeaway from these two kits together. HoYoverse just handed F2P players a free Stellar Conduct engine. Free Alyosha triggers it, free Cryo Traveler, also coming with this patch, also free through the Archon quest. Can lean into it too. You do not strictly need to pull for anything to participate in this patch's new mechanic. That's genuinely rare, and it matters.
Part 4. How many Primogems are you actually roughly leaked numbers from Hiragara, put free-to-play income for 7.0 at roughly 13,900 plus Primogems, plus around 7 free intertwined fates, and 17 acquaint fates just from commissions, quests, exploration, and events. That alone lands you somewhere around 90 plus pulls on the limited banner, enough to comfortably guarantee at least one 5-star. Got Welkin? Add roughly 3,800 more Primogems across the patch. That's another 20 plus pulls. Running the Battle Pass too. Tack on a few hundred more Primogems and a handful of extra intertwined fates. Stack all three together and you're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 120 plus total pulls for the patch, which is a genuinely strong number. New map exploration alone is doing a lot of heavy lifting here since Snezhnaya is being leaked as bigger than Sumeru. Obviously, beta leak, subject to change, don't take this as gospel, but it's a reasonable target to plan around. Part 5-5. So should you actually pull? Here's my honest take. Odette is the only new 5-star this entire patch, and she's a support/sub DPS, not a must-have carry. If you're already sitting on Sandrone or Ryothsley and maybe want to squeeze more out of that team, she's worth it. If you're not invested in stellar teams at all, the free units already let you dip a toe in without spending a single wish. The bigger reason to hold polls. Leaks point to Vodyanitsa and Vesny landing in 7.1, not 7.0, and the Zartza herself, the actual cryo-arctine final boss of this entire 6-year arc, isn't expected until later in the 7.3 to 7.4 cycle. If you're the type who's been saving specifically for the Archon reveal, 7.0 might just be a let it ride patch, while the real targets are still a couple of updates out. My actual recommendation, use this patch to build up the free stuff, farm what materials you can, and decide your Odette pull based on whether you already own Sandrone or Rio, not based on FOMO, because the biggest banner of this entire arc probably isn't even here yet. That's everything worth knowing before Snezhnaya opens up. If you want the full map breakdown or the Sandrone Odette team comp once she's actually live, that's coming. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Let me know down below. Are you pulling for Odette, or are you the type holding out for the Tsaritsa herself?